Getting choir members and congregants involved in music making is pretty challenging right now with all of the restrictions placed on us by the coronavirus. But here are 3 things that you could implement this Sunday. They won't take that much effort or planning. You just got to put them together and try them out. So I hope these 3 ideas come in handy for you and you're able to implement them in your worship service soon. So the first thing that is easy and worth trying out is some sign language. I suggest trying to teach the congregation 1 phrase per Sunday, or maybe even 1 phrase per month, however much you think they're able to digest at once. So you could teach them how to say in sign language, "God be with you." This is something that they can greet each other with when they meet in the church hallway or outside of church or within the worship service itself. And they can do that without having to speak at all and no sharing of those viral particles. So get up in front of the congregation or maybe pre-record yourself on a video and send that out to the congregation and help them to learn this sign language. It's very, very easy. So the word God is an L with your right hand, the forefinger and thumb, and then you start the sign at your left shoulder and swoop down to your right hip. That is the word God. So let's try that again. God. And then the word be is this. God be with is both thumbs up and then you bring them together in the middle. So with. God be with you. That's very simple. Just a point to everyone in front of you. You. So let's try it all together. God be with you. Now, if that's not something your congregation can learn at one worship service, I don't know what is. That's pretty dang simple. And something that they can enjoy using in the service and outside of the service. All right, let's move on to the second thing you can try with your congregation as soon as this Sunday. Get out those handed chimes that have been sitting in storage for months now, probably. And you are going to actually involve the congregation in chiming. Something that we have all missed over the last couple months is getting to really participate in the worship service and be able to respond when it's, the congregation's time to respond and say, Amen, and Kyrie eleison, hear our prayer, O Lord, getting to sing the hymns, all of that. We still cannot safely speak those phrases in in-person worship, but we could use hand chimes to say those things for us, musically speaking. So what I tried at my church is placing a scale of hand chimes on a table in our narthex. I pre-sanitized those. And when I say scale, I just picked out a nice series of notes that I thought sounded pretty. I think it was a modal scale, but you could do a whole tone scale, major minor scale, pentatonic. You could do octatonic and go a little wilder with it. I found that it almost doesn't matter which chime notes you put out. When people are chiming them all throughout the sanctuary, it really just creates a beautiful cacophony, and the pitches themselves don't matter that much. But you can have fun picking out the scales if you want to. So I put the chimes pre-sanitized on a table in the narthex, and I sent a newsletter out before all this was going to happen during the week that, if you wanted to participate in this, please grab a chime as you're walking in. Don't create a bottleneck. And I had an assistant there who was helping to make the process flow, and she was explaining to people what we were doing with them and how to proceed quickly to their seats in the sanctuary. So all of that happened fairly naturally. It went smoothly. You could, instead of putting the chimes on a table, you could go ahead and place them in the pews or the chairs in the sanctuary if you know that people are going to be sitting there already. So it depends on your situation how you want to distribute the chimes. Now, after everyone was in their seats at the beginning of worship, I said hello, and you may have noticed that we are using chimes today, and this is how we're going to use them. Whenever you see a bolded response in your worship bulletin, you will all chime together that response instead of speaking it. And I stood up at the front as well and sort of led those responses with my own hand chime. And it went very smoothly. Everyone seemed to enjoy it. It was beautiful to hear all of those chime noises from all different corners of the sanctuary, and people would ring them at slightly different times. So it was almost like a wind chime if you're outside, and the chimes are kind of lightly hitting each other and creating that beautiful chime sound. So that went very well, and people seemed to enjoy it. I highly recommend using the chimes for congregational responses. If you're going to do this, try to use the chimes and not the hand bells. Chimes are different from bells, and the reason I picked chimes is because they're just straight up metal, and you can easily clean them and not worry about them getting broken, basically. Like if a kid drops it on the floor, most likely the hand chime is going to be okay. I mean, people understand that you need to be careful with them, but accidents do happen, right? With a hand bell, it's made out of a material that needs to be polished, so getting fingerprints on it or wiping disinfectant on it might not be a great thing, and they are more fragile overall. So chimes are better than handbells, in my opinion. Number 3, the third thing you can do to get people involved this week is a psalm singing. Because group singing is discouraged right now with the coronavirus, I would not use a choir. I would not advise that personally. I mean, you can do whatever you want, but I don't advise it. I would, however, advise finding someone from your choir, your children's choir, youth group, or even congregation if you know that they are musical. Find someone who wants to be a cantor for one day and help them learn the psalm, which is usually easy. Most psalm settings are pretty simple. Now, there are 3 main types of psalms. One is responsorial, which are very popular right now. Basically, a cantor or choir will sing the verses, and then the congregation will be invited to sing a refrain, which sort of segments the verses. So you'll have a bit of the psalm text and then a responsorial refrain that everyone can sing together, more text, refrain, etc. That's totally possible for you to use right now. However, the fact that the refrain is normally responsorial, requiring participation from the congregation, I feel like that might make the congregation feel a little bit left out. So I would personally stay away from the responsorial settings just for right now, unless you have come up with a really cool way to involve everyone. The second main type of psalm setting is the chant, and most people know of Gregorian chant and Anglican chant, which are 2 different things. The Gregorian is usually sung to a reciting tone, and the Anglican chant, there are many of those. They're just phrases written in 4 parts that can be retrofitted to lots of different psalm texts. Either one of those would be great for a cantor to handle, especially the Gregorian chants. I can see how you could incorporate the chimes with the congregation and let them play fifths and fourths with the chimes kind of randomly in the sanctuary. That could provide a drone for the cantor to sing the reciting tone over. So kind of be thinking about how you could get the congregation involved, but definitely consider the use of a cantor. The third type of psalm setting is just strophic, like your normal hymn. You could pick any tune that has the right meter for your text and put that with the psalm text. Again, you could have a cantor sing this. You could pre-record any of these things and work them into a pre-recorded worship service, or send them individually out to the congregation, whatever you'd like to do. So, sign language, hand chimes, and psalms sung by cantors or pre-recorded by groups of singers. Those are 3 things that you can implement almost immediately to your worship service, and they're going to get people in your choir and congregation participating in worship again, which is like the most important thing that we church musicians are considering right now. So please leave a comment and tell me, have you tried any of those things? Are you going to try them? How are they going for you? Do you have any questions about the implementation of these tactics? Please let me know in the comments. I'd also very much appreciate it if you could subscribe to this channel, the Church Musician's Assistant, because it's going to help our videos be more popular and sent out to more people by the YouTube algorithm. And then if you could like this video as well, that does the same thing. That just makes us look good on YouTube. And I really appreciate that. All right. Thanks for spending some time with me today. I'm Hannah Cruz at the Church Musician's Assistant. Until next time, blessings.